Okay, so at our visit today, which is Friday, they didn't expect me to show up, obviously. I did. I was first in line, like always. As soon as they realized that it was me, however, the retaliation began. While sitting outside for our visitor processing to start, they came outside, they collected our passes, and each pass is numbered. So it goes from 1 to however many there are, right? But it goes in order. So whenever processing begins, they are supposed to begin in order also. So when it comes time to be processed, they walk out and they tell us all visits have been canceled, which is really awkward. They didn't say why or anything like that. They just said, keep an eye out on the website for further explanation. Okay, whatever. However, while sitting outside waiting to be processed, since we were the first ones there, my daughter and I did hear one of the alarms go off. Okay, when one of the alarms goes off, that means something happened. Like there's a fight, there's a riot, someone got stabbed, whatever. So the alarm was coming from C Yard. And whenever it was time for us to leave, after they had told us there's not going to be any visits, we saw the ambulance driving out of the prison and a fire truck behind it, both with their lights on. So obviously whoever they had in there was in critical condition, but not deceased. So I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll try again tomorrow. But then we get a phone call from the inmate family council stating, come back. They reinstated the visits for the day. Okay, cool. So I'll go back, right? Well, the majority of us go back. Okay, so when we arrive, they're telling us at the front gate, you're not allowed in yet. They're doing a emergency count, and then after that, you guys will be allowed back in. Okay, cool, right? But then they tell everybody, there's no visitations for C Yard only. All right. The excuse they gave them, however, was that the AC was not working in the visitation room. Bullshit. Then they gave the excuse, oh no, the visitation room is flooded. Bullshit even more, because God knows when was the last time that it even rained here. Okay, so like, all right, whatever, we know the truth. So after that, I spoke to someone with a little bit of authority who stated that one of the COs had passed away, which I do not believe either, based on the fact that, like I said, the lights from the ambulance and the fire truck were still on when they left. So it leads me to believe it was an inmate, not an officer. If anything, the officer might have been stabbed, but was not deceased. Okay, so we go to our visit, well, actually, no, we did not make it into our visit yet. We get back there, to be processed again. They call us in and they say, oh yeah, do the passes in the order that they belong. Okay. No, bullshit. We had passed number 1. However, they went 2, 3, 4. They went on. They got to pass, I think it was about 16, 17, or 18, around there. And I laughed. I didn't tell them that I was upset or anything like that. No, why give them the satisfaction, right? So I laughed about it, and then I stood up. I walked over to one of the officers, and I asked her, excuse me, was there a problem with our pass? To which she says, let me check. And then she picks up the stack of slips, flips it over to the one on the very bottom, looks at it and says, no, there's no problem. Then flips it back over and puts it right back. So we went from pass number 1 to then putting us completely last. Okay, right? I didn't complain. I just laughed and I sat back down. All right, screw it, whatever. A few minutes later, I see her laughing, and then she hands the pass to one of the officers to go ahead and process us in. Personally, I really don't give a shit, because one way or another, I'm still going to get my visit. I'm not petty like that. I don't care. I still get to see my husband one way or another. All right, so we get processed. We get back there to see my husband, right? It was an amazing visit because I got to see him laugh. I got to see him smile. I got to see him happy. Which I was actually expecting him not to be in a good mood at all, but he was just happy to see us. Okay, so he starts filling me in on what has occurred on his side since arriving back at LAC, because like I previously stated, we had no communication whatsoever up until today. So he tells me, they arrived really late there. He was processed within about an hour and 30 minutes after arriving. They put him in a cell, right? And then a little while later took him out of that cell to place him in a different cell. So when they went to put him in the other cell, the officer who was putting him in there hit him repeatedly with the cell door. Okay, they know that my husband is injured, but they still did it anyway, and they found it amusing. However, it is on their chest cameras, and the facility cameras also recorded. Okay, so after that, they did give my husband his property, the majority of it anyway. They gave him his tablet. However, they did not give him the charger for his tablet, which he has 2 in his property. And I confirmed that with Sacramento. And I also confirmed that with the warden secretary at LAC today. Okay. He did have 2 in his property. Still has them in his property because they still have not given it to him at all. They told him, the officers on that yard in that building told him, no, you don't have any chargers in your property. Bullshit. Okay, that is problem number 2. Okay, problem number 3. These officers seriously have it out for my husband. They tried to set my husband up. There's one female officer who works in that building, and for some reason they are saying that I EX'd her, which is indecent exposure. My husband has no write-ups of any kind like that. He's never been charged for anything like that. He is not that type of person, So these officers went around this yard telling them telling the inmates in the building that supposedly my husband did that. Okay, when they tell someone that, that's because they want those inmates to either severely injure and jump the other person, or because they want that person killed. That's what they do to people like that in prison. So my husband calls them out on their shit and tells them, he's well aware of what they're doing. He can hear them. He knows how to read lips also. So one of the officers starts laughing and tells another officer, he already knows. And then apparently the officer in the tower was supposed to shoot my husband if he tried to defend himself. Then another officer went and handed some razors to an inmate and told him to slice my husband up really good with them, then start a fight with him, and then they were going to shoot my husband. So my husband keeps calling them out on their shit, right? And he tells them, you guys are stupid as fuck if you think that my wife is not going to find out. You've cut off all communication between me and her. I don't get any phone calls. I can't use my tablet. But you bet your ass she is going to find out, and she will have those videos pulled. After that, they shut the fuck up. However, they are still doing little things to try and set him up. So I'm glad that he was able to tell me all of this in visit today, so that I can get right on that and handle that problem. He knew to expect me to show up this weekend because I had not heard from him. And I am that type of wife. If I have not heard from you, and even if you tell me not to show up, I am still showing up, because that man is my priority. Anything involving him is my priority. And he was so happy that I showed up. And I was so happy also. So was our daughter. She finally got to see her daddy. So we're looking forward to our visit tomorrow. And tonight I will be filing complaints. And hopefully this situation will be taken care of. Hopefully nothing else happens tonight, and we have a pleasant visit tomorrow. And these officers are hopefully going to be punished the way they should be, or reprimanded harshly, hopefully, because this is a form of sexual harassment. This is falsely accusing someone of a crime, pretty much. This is setting someone up, which is conspiracy to commit a crime on their part. And there's a few more charges in there that I just cannot think of right now. However, when I file that report, you bet your ass they will be on there. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend with their loved ones. And just like every other video, feel free to email me, comment, subscribe, share the videos. Put this out there, please. Let it be known the way they do these men and these women in there.